Welcome to Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass, a digital first series where we invite you, the entrepreneur, to send us your questions live to some of India's biggest and sharpest minds. This is part 2 of a conversation that we do here on the show. Today, we have on the show someone who needs no introduction, Niranjan Hiranandani, speaking to us about the events and trends which he feels and he's calling out is going to impact entrepreneurs as we are counting down to the $5 trillion economy here in the country. Take a listen. If you could talk about perhaps the top 1 or 2 things that COVID has impacted here for the life of an entrepreneur, for someone who has a job today in India Inc., what would that be?
The first and foremost trend that we do see definitely is the trend for the purposes of focusing on health and hygiene. The second major trend which the pandemic has brought about is the work from home. Third one was the e-commerce and the technology change which has taken place.
I do also want to talk about, even as we're looking at the $5 trillion economy, what's going to happen as far as one, job creation, and a second part of that question, job creation and the impact on India's small businesses like the ones who've logged in for today's masterclass. 100 million people have lost their jobs during the pandemic. This is a figure that you're well aware of, sir, because you're so closely associated with SMEs and MSMEs here. This is more for the benefit of our audience. What's going to bring those jobs back? And how can these people who've lost their jobs, or someone who's perhaps entering the workforce for the first time, prepare for those new jobs or reskill themselves? I
was president of ASSOCHAM last year, and we have 450,000 SMEs with us. And more than 50% of them are closed down or almost closed down. The effect on that of this 100 million is an estimate, but we don't know whether it was more or little less than that, but certainly numbers close to that. Those have still not been resolved because a lot of people who have been off the jobs have really not got involved. So we are working towards in 2 different ways. The first way is to push the economy to move up. So the number of jobs automatically rises fast. And this is happening in the road sector, highway sector, construction sector, IT sector, steel sector, cement sector, building sector, labor sector. So that was one part of it. The second part of it is more difficult to address. So we still have travel tourism, media, some parts of real estate. All those are still in the problematic. And the last one, the single small trader, the rickshaw wala, the poor fellow who did it. So many were out of jobs for so long and have suffered. This we have to cater for in 2 ways. Number one, we do whatever it is to give jobs. For example, you have Narega in the rural areas. We need a similar type of program to be done for the urban poor. That's one. Yeah. The second, the MSMEs do need much more than just additional credit from RBI and the government of India in terms of a guaranteed credit. I think we needed some monies to have really come into these MSMEs, which has not come. And I think something needs to be done in order to cater for the MSME sector, who is actually struggling and still struggling in many places. I know of them very, very well, because of my connections with the MSME sector. But if you push the overall economy up, then these sectors can come back quicker. So if 10 sectors are at least doing fantastically, their expenditure, their advertisement, their budgets will increase, their recruitments will start, the secondary effect will take place, building construction will expand, people will get more jobs, and so on and so forth. But one more thing is important. There is a change of the type of job you have. So there is a problem of skilling. Let me give you one example of my own company. Earlier, when maybe 20 years ago, 25 years ago, when I wanted 500 skilled, if I wanted 100 skilled workers, I would get 500 applying for it. Today, when I want 100 skilled workers, I don't get 20. There are people out of jobs and still I don't get 20 skilled workers. So because of the growth in the economy, we really have to unskill some of the workers, reskill some of the workers, upskill some of the workers, and newly skill a lot of people, not only in construction and real estate, but in all the sectors where the employment potential is growing up. So people will have to change jobs, but the skilling part of it is going too slow. National education policy, skill development expenditure is good, but not enough. So we need to focus on that and really do it. Once you do that, we'll be able to not only help to improve the economy, but also be able to drive more jobs into the economy, which is really taking place. And automatically, MSMEs will lift themselves, but surely they need some short-term injection of relief.
Lots of questions coming in. I'm going to try and take as many as possible before we let Mr. Hiranandani go. First one, Sadish Shah says, there's a lack of awareness. As you see, many farmers are migrating from rural to urban India without realizing their mistake. My question to Mr. Hiranandani, should there be any sort of government and awareness programs which are being initiated to help them understand and to really stop this migration in some sense?
It's not going to stop. The opportunity and jobs are all in urban areas, whether they are tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 cities. They are going to migrate to it. They are already underemployed. We have too many people in the agricultural sector. You either bring industry to the agricultural areas or you move wherever they have got jobs which are going to do. So the migration to urban areas will happen, come what may. And if you want to really reach $5 trillion economy, urbanization is a must. Industrialization is a must. Infrastructure is a must. Construction is a must. Growth of MSMEs is a must. Growth of all the other things, airports, roads, railway stations, other things has to happen. It's happening, but is it happening enough? That's the challenge. So no, my friend, we will get people from the villages, and there's no stopping that.
A similar question coming to us from Anushka. I want to take it, sir, in case you feel that you want to add anything to your previous answer. She's saying, sir, what about villages? While the cities are growing, no doubt, but what should we look for in terms of the villages, by which I mean she's talking about what sort of benefits should we be looking for and asking for rural India?
So we need to do irrigation. We need to provide for water, perennial waters to be done. We need to see that the farmers are adequately given credit for the purposes of doing it. We need to see that the small division of very, very small farmers and subdivisions which are taking place are consolidated in a manner. We need to commercialize some of the farming that needs to do to incrementally increase the income of the farmers. Some of it is already getting done in the field of sugarcane and other areas which are happening. And there is a lot of encouragement and government support to the farmers in this. But we need to do multi-cropping. We also need to see that other things are added on to the farmer's income. So, for example, keeping cows for dairy, for milk production, for doing horticulture to whatever small extent that they can do, having chickens and poultry that can be done. So multiple skilling should be done and encouragement to do all these things. Some of it is started, but probably more can be done, but for which you need skilling, education, and ideas to be given. Government is doing a lot of subsidy in terms of fertilizer credit, fertilizer subsidy. I think more than that subsidy, education in terms of how they can improve the farm income needs to be more educated to the people. And now, fortunately, you can do it through the mobile, you can do it through TV. All these activities can be encouraged to improve the farmer's income. That is the target of the Prime Minister. Can we achieve it as quickly as possible is a challenge. And of course, we have many times monsoons are not there. And, we don't have perennial water in some of the areas of the country. So you have only single crops and stuff like that. So that is the reason why you need other industry to come up in the whole idea to do it. Production of honey, for example, all these things can be taken up more and more in the country. And the surpluses can even be exported, as was used to be done many years ago.
I'm going to take our poll question here for our audience members on IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass. Poll that we're asking you, would love to hear from our audience. Do you think the tech economy can help India reach its $5 trillion goal? That's a yes or no question. So do tell us what you think. Coming back then to our questions from our audience. This one is coming to us from Manoj at vkcnuts.com. We did speak very briefly about the Ukraine crisis, Mr. Hiranandani, at the start of this masterclass, but his question is, will the current crisis of Ukraine impact the overall plans of the $5 trillion economy?
The Ukraine crisis in the short run is 100% going to create a major problem and disruption to take place, and totally destroys the concept that the oil prices would not exceed, or average oil prices for the year will not be more than $70. So we are already in trouble. Just the thought of it is putting us in trouble. And that's why you saw the stock markets come down. That is why you saw foreign exchange currency, our rupee fell down. And I don't see any improvement tomorrow. But I do see an improvement in the long run, because our economy, with the investment commitment that we have made, both in the private and government sector, is huge. Look at the commitment by Reliance. Look at the commitment by TCS. Look at the commitment by automobile companies in electric mobility. Look at this expansion of cement companies. Look at the construction of roads. We are now doing 35 kilometers of national highway per day. I mean, no country in the world now matches India in terms of road construction. We have beaten China long back. So all in one, I think I am very bullish in terms of the long term. Trouble in the short term beyond imagination.
Our audience is also very bullish, 95% saying yes, the tech economy is what's going to help us achieve it. 5% are saying they're not so sure. I'm going to slip into a short break on that note. Back in just a moment. Welcome back. You're with us here on Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass. Tonight, we're having a conversation as far as the $5 trillion economy is concerned here in India. What's it going to take? And what are the events and what are the trends that are going to impact the life of you, the entrepreneur, as we're counting down to that big headline? Our follow-up question is from Vinay Bharadwaj on just that. So he's saying earlier, Mr. Hiranandani was speaking about live anywhere, work anywhere. We're a small business, as our employees are for the past 2 years now working remotely, but are going to come back to offices. As a small business, what infrastructure should I look at putting in place? What should I keep in mind? I'm assuming he's talking about a hybrid model, if you could talk about that.
All the models are working. The working model is coming back to office. All people I brought back to office. 100% of people are back into my office. I know IT sectors were working only from home. Now they are almost 30, 40, 50%, depending on the company, come back to office. Banks and financial institutions, already 30, 40, 50% are back in the office. My colleges, we are trying to get 100% back to college, but not coming. Many of them are gone to Nepal, somebody's gone to Sri Lanka, somebody's gone to their family in America and are not wanting to come back. Not wanting means they have to come back, but they're reluctant. So the lives of people in the short run are definitely going to be difficult to come back and get used to the new way. But in the long run, differential will take place, outlying areas will develop, People will work from outlying areas. People will not mind having their employees work from outlying areas. Bosses may permanently work from home. Entrepreneurs may find it cost effective not to have an office, or they have a small office as a center, which is a kind of a co-working space that they will work from, but actually very few employees will work from there, but it will give you an address. So the changes are happening, but don't believe that people will not come to office. That's not going to happen. Nobody is not going to go to school and colleges. My view is blended learning, blended working.
Very quickly, a couple of more questions coming in. First one from Madan Mohan of Target Infotech. He says, why is it that you're saying that we're not able to fill vacancies for certain job openings in companies? Could you please elaborate the reason for why you said that?
I'm not getting plumbers. I'm not getting electricians. I'm not getting painters. I'm not getting fitters. I'm not getting this. And I want as many people as are available to join my company and my contractors tomorrow. So I'm shortage of all the labor which is over there that needs to be upskilled. We don't get people who are willing to go out in the sun and work on highways. Engineers are reluctant. They're so used to design engineers. They only want to sit in the office and design. If you want to go to the site and work, there are so many jobs which are there. People are not willing to go out and do that hard work and labor that is required. So jobs are available in many places where there are no employees. And there are other places where people are clamoring for jobs, but there is no other thing that is possible to do. So it's a mix and blend. As I told you, people can get jobs, but you got to reskill.
This question is coming to us from Anil at Ashania Engineers. He says the government is not releasing payments to vendors quickly. Please suggest whether it will be a positive catalyst or not for our ambitious $5 trillion economy.
Let me tell you that the government has now a website. I haven't accessed it ever, where you can put on record for the MSMEs that payments are not coming. And they are bound to give you a payment. I think it's 15 days or 30 days. I don't know the dates. And if you look up that website, you can record it and you can represent to the government or the authorities. I don't know the process. I'm sorry. I can stand corrected by the process. But there is a position wherein you can put it up on the website and then push the government and those semi-government agencies to do it.
Last couple of questions. This one is coming to us from Ravi Shirsat. He says, would love to hear from Mr. Hiranandani his views on the IPO action as well as the privatization move on the part of the government. Will all of this aid the $5 trillion move?
I think the IPO action will be super duper success.
Okay.
I don't see a doubt in that. I think the government has to take a more courageous step. They should not only sell 5% and 10% of LIC. They should sell 20%, 25% of LIC to the public, maybe in stages, in order not to disrupt the liquidity position of the market. But maybe over a period of 1 year, 2 years, they must do it because government doesn't have to be in the business of business. And I think the earlier they decide that and use the money for development infrastructure for the purposes of social benefit of the country, I think the earlier. But they shouldn't use it for political reasons and expenditure. It should be spent just like the budget has planned in 2022 to spend more and more on infrastructure and development. That downstream benefit is going to be huge as far as India is concerned.
Sanjay from NAS Technologies is saying, could you please brief us as far as you were talking about the IT opportunities? Could you give us some more insight in terms of where specifically in the IT industry opportunities for the SME segment will come up?
IT is everywhere. Any business that you want to do, whether it is media, whether it's e-commerce, whether it is commerce, whether it's building construction industry, whether it is marketing, whether it is, you name it, IT is going to become important. And this part of IT has an opportunity which is at this point of time, unlimited, unstoppable, unbeatable, terrific. So if you are in the IT sector, please examine opportunities, dream big, dream great, dream wonderfully. And I promise you the next decade, this decade from 2022 to 32, is going to be the age of technology, whether it's in medicine, whether it's in, you just name it, it's going to be technology. Automobiles, designing cars, travel cars, driverless cars, everything is going to be technology. So if you are in technology, congratulations. The opportunity is unstoppable, unbeatable, fantastic. Just ride the wave and don't stop.
Repeat question from Anushka. She says, sir, how important is climate change for us? We as a company have a lot of young people. What should be our basic value, she's asking, to a society? I would like to rephrase perhaps outlook as far as the climate is concerned for young entrepreneurs.
Very good question, Anushka. I'm glad you've raised it. People used to think that development and environment is contradictory. We have now proved in our project sites that we are able to marry improvement of climate, improvement of environment and sustainability by doing projects. So we do 4 million liters of recycling of water per day in our Powai and Thane projects each. We do platinum rated buildings which consume 15% less energy than otherwise. The materials which are doing are sustainable. So we are doing development marrying with this. National highways, we are going to plant trees, and that is also something which is fantastic. So you're going to see greening of the countries, forestation, both in the private sector, Sadhguru leading millions of trees, other people also planting, we in our company planting, Naretco and Kridai planting. All of us are getting into the thing of improvement of economy, of environment and sustainability, along with value creation.
Mr. Hiranandani, pleasure as always having you here with us.
My pleasure, Sunanda, to be with you and all your other spectators and questions. They were wonderful questions too. So it is quite interesting to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. That's all we could pack into this two-part series of Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass, the Superhighway to $5 trillion. For more information on what else we're going to be discussing here on the Leaders of Tomorrow Masterclass series, do head on over to our website. Also for feedback on this masterclass, that number you see on your screen, that's how you reach us. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.